Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another episode of Super Fantify. This being a show where we talk about TV shows of the supernatural, fantasy, and/or science fictional genre. For today's episode, I'm gonna talk about Onmyo Kaiten Rebirth Verse Season 1, Episode 3. A lot of really interesting things went down in this episode, so let's break it down. So first and foremost, let's open up with while Takeru is doing some training with Atsunaga and other Onmyojis. Simi and them are kind of examining Takeru, and it's like, right, after looking into it, doesn't seem like there's any records of him, but it turns out he has like a blossom type of emblem on his right hand. Or no, it's his left hand, sorry. And I mean, it's pretty noticeable. It's pretty apparent, like, throughout every time we've seen him, even in the first episode. But they bring up the fact is, it's a birthmark that people are born here. Was it Dingy Kaiden or whatever? Like, people born here have that. So now the question then becomes, well, if he's definitely not from this world, at least we know of, so how did he get it? So the question then becomes, was he born in this world and somehow went to the world he grew up in? Could it be like, is the birthmark like a hereditary thing, and like if one or two of your parents have it, do you automatically have it? So could it be that he's not from this world, but maybe one of his parents is? Obviously, he hasn't really brought up his parents and his eagerness to go back to that world because he's all focused on, protecting Tsukimiya, but we spent no time with him in the world he's from, so we have no idea what his family situation is. I mean, we hear him talk about his family's motto and stuff, but he doesn't really talk about the individual members of his family. He doesn't go like, oh, my mom or my dad, or if he has any siblings. He just talks about his family motto. So a lot of interesting questions on that front, especially when you tie that into the end of the episode. Kind of begs the question, because the thing I brought up too in like episode 1, it's like his transformation seems so different from the others, because the others are spiritually piloting Shikigami. So then the question becomes like, well, what was that thing he's partially transforming into it in episode 2 and this episode while he's inside of a Shikigami, because when he got into it with Atsunaga, like inside the Shikigami, his body passes out, so his spirit's going in there. But that's not what happened with his first transformation in episode 1. He literally, he wore it like a suit of armor. And from what we saw, it didn't look like the insides of what the Shikigami looked like. I remember commenting on that at the time. So I'm like, but he still was inside looking out, so it's not like he fully just became that thing, or at least not that we're aware of. So now the question becomes like, well, maybe he's not fully human. Like, the thing he transforms into, you're like, you don't think it's an Oni, do you? Like, could he be partially Oni? Like, could someone in his family be an Oni? Like, once again, the whole like family motto thing, are we going to find out, like, are those going to be implanted memories? There's a lot to kind of spitball and take from that. And like, once again, a lot of throwing spaghetti to the wall to see what sticks, but I'm so curious to find out what that means. Like, there's a lot of questions on that front, but obviously I'm spending a lot of time on that. Let's just dive into the episode itself. Like I brought up earlier, Takeru is training, and you can see like Yura's watching with a lot of resentment, and it seems like it stems from him and Atsunaga becoming basic partners. Like, ever since they worked together last episode, it seems like he's kind of become Takeru's main training partner, and Yura kind of was like upset about that even last episode. It's kind of a thing of, it's almost like I'm getting replaced, because she has a lot of insecurities, because she feels like Atsunaga could be so much better, is so much capable, but she feels like she's the one holding him back, because obviously he's striving to get stronger for the sake of making up for his mistake in the past, that his superior officer like died because of him and sacrificed himself because of him. And it's like, yeah, a lot of destruction to the city happened because I failed. So he's been pushing himself to get stronger on that front. And Yura says she wants to get stronger too, but we don't know if she has the exact same motivation, because it did seem like last episode she was pushing Atsunaga, because she's like, yo, don't forget what you're fighting for. So I wonder if that was just her trying to keep her partner on track, or do they have the same motivation? Is she's motivated by the same thing, or is it because she feels like Atsunaga is like, the space and between them is getting so big that she's scared? I mean, that seems like to be the biggest contributing factor to like her behavior this episode, and her like resentment towards Takeru, because obviously they're doing training, and Takeru and Atsunaga do work well together, and they end up beating their trial partners. Like one of them kind of got knocked out, and so Yura steps in, and it's still not the clear win because the training gets interrupted because partway through it, like Atsunaga just calls it quits. And I think maybe it's on some level he felt bad having to fight his partner, and I think he has his own issues with it where he's just kind of like, because he thought Yura, I think it's kind of like they think that each other has problems with the other. So I think Yura thinks Atsunaga feels held back by her, and that's her own insecurities. And I think Atsunaga feels like, oh, maybe Yura's tired of me, and maybe I'm holding her back. So I think it's just them like miscommunication on both, massively on both of their parts. Like I said, it's just Yura kind of feels a little jealous because like Takeru seems to be getting all of Atsunaga's like attention and stuff. So it feels like it is more than just like partnership jealousy. It might also be like there might be something intimate there that maybe not. I don't know. He fans over Tsukimiya, but not to the same extent that like you think Yura would have an issue with it. I don't think so. That's never come up, even though he is the Tsukimiya superfan that he is. But I think that's a little bit of a different situation. So, but either way, while like fixing like food for everyone, Takeru is with Tsukimiya, and he's asking her like, okay, so with the performance is coming up and stuff like that. So it's like he's like, the day afterwards, could you like hang out with me all day? Because he knows the day of like the attack, it's coming, the day that she died. Once again, I have to recorrect myself again. Going back, like looking at it this episode, it's like, oh, he was only in this place for like a day or two. I think some of the montage stuff made me think he was there way longer than he was, but he was only here maybe like a day or so. But because it's like, yeah, the day he crashed in, it was like the day of the performance, which he's like, yo, this was the day, and then the attacks happened. So it was like, yeah, he was, so he's obviously rewound, and he's here a little bit, like, well, once I think it was like, what, half a month earlier. He was like here 15 days earlier than he was previously. So I thought he was, like, that's what was confused. I think in the past last episode, I think I just misconstrued the amount of time he was here his first time through. Like when he was here first came here in episode 1, I think I just misconstrued like how much time had really passed. I thought multiple days had passed. It only been like maybe one, if even that, so. Oh, it definitely was, because it was like nighttime during that episode at one point. So he was there, like I said, like maybe a day or so. But Tsukimiya, either way, getting back to the conversation, decided that she doesn't want to call quits on the performance because she feels like it's too important. Because obviously, like, people are living with such, like, she's like, right, the Oni are scary, right? She's like, there's so much dread that people are trying to live their lives, but having that constant fear of, like, the Oni attacks could come at any point in time and people could die. And so that's why for her, the performances are so important. It's like, it allows people to relax. It's like, if I can help people alleviate their fears, even in just a little bit, and even just for a small period of time, then it's all worth it. So that's why she doesn't want to turn away from the stage, so it doesn't lose its importance of what it does for relaxing people. And so for Takeru, it's like, well, if that's going to be the case, then I will just get stronger. I think he's going to be like, and he does what he like. I think he does what he's thinking is like, I'm just going to stay nearby you just in case like an incident happens. But this pushes him even further when it comes to his training. So Simi is saying, like, right, to really get some of Takeru's power to really show itself, you need to hit him with a thunder attack. Like, don't hold back. And he does. And initially it's like, I think, was it Shino is supposed to be healing him, but he's like, no, don't. Like, let me push through this. And you see, like, the skin on his arm is burning up. But luckily he pushes through and, like, completely dissipates the attack. He heals up afterwards, so I don't know if that's a byproduct of some of his power leaking through automatically healing him, or now that it was, because it didn't seem like it was Shino still it didn't seem like it was her still healing him anymore, but I could be mistaken. But this irritates Yura even more because she's like, she struggled just to deflect one of Atsunaga's attacks, and for him to full on take it on head on like that, and not only like not even deflect it, just straight up make it dissipate, that just makes her envy kind of grow because she feels like she's falling further and further behind. Then like the next day, or maybe it was the same day, like the day of the performance, he's in the crowd watching, and I just love Atsunaga doing like, oh my god, this is so great. But then like Takeru's like on edge until he like realizes what day it is, and he runs. He's like, right, there was an attack at that point earlier in the day, and so he tries to warn people like, yo, an Oni is coming, but no one's listening to him because they listen to the warning sign. But immediately after he starts saying that, the warning sign goes off, and Atsunaga's like, whoa, he was right. So it adds validity to like for him to know the attack was coming. Means like, right, there's truth to him, like saying he's come back in time. He's experienced this all before. Luckily, the kid he couldn't quite save before, it was Atsunaga and Yura who did this time. Last time he was able to get the child to her mother this time, so it's kind of neat. Unintentionally, wasn't thinking about it, but he got to be the hero this time because he didn't really care about the credit last time either. It's just kind of like, right, just trying to do the right thing, make sure as few people are hurt as possible. We don't know if it's the exact same Oni as in episode 1 when it attacked, but like the one later on is the same one from episode 1 as well. So it's like, yeah. But yeah, when it's all said and done, it's like, okay, cool. So Takeru's thinking to himself like, okay, but we have a little more time because that next attack, the one that Tsukimiya died in, was later in the afternoon. So he's like, okay, I'm going to, and he gets challenged to a fight by Yura because she's like, right, we're not going to use any powers, just straight up fist fighting. And, mano a mano as he taught them, one-on-one. And he accepts her challenge because she wants to prove to not him, but more so herself, like who's stronger. And it seems like, yeah, she easily outclasses him, but she's so distracted because she gets frustrated because she's like, yo, like, what's so special about him? And like, I'm getting left behind. And in that moment, Takeru takes advantage of it and knocks her on her butt. It's like, yeah, I win. That was our agreement. Like, whoever falls on her butt first is the loser. And she's like, yeah, she kind of has to begrudgingly accept it. But for him, it's like, if you're really worried about what's like Atsunaga's feeling, the best thing too is like, don't base it on just your eyes on what you see. Like, ask him yourself. And the reason why she hasn't is because she's afraid of the answer, And so that is something she kind of took to heart, and it did kind of bring them closer together. Sometimes it's the clashing of blades or the exchanging of blows that really kind of makes you kind of like, oh, like finally understand someone. Kind of you're able to kind of like vent a lot of your frustration and kind of get out what you need to get out. So. But sadly, the next attack comes, but it's way sooner because it's like, wait, no, it's supposed to be later this afternoon. So that becomes that butterfly question of why is the Oni acting different? Like, if it was something in this world, the way he's interacted with it in like the 15 days he's been here this time, sure, but why would that affect the Oni's time frame of appearance? Like, why would anything he's done here affect that unless whatever's going on with the Oni situation is tied to something here, and so whatever changes he's making here had some inverse effect on the Oni. Who knows? But it's the same Oni, and sadly Tsukimiya was off on her own, and he was like, wait, why are you on your own? Like, weren't you at the stage performing? Because I guess when the attack went down, she probably remembered all the stuff that Takeru said. She probably was rushing to find him during that situation, but the problem is she gets caught. And Atsunaga was there too, so he was caught in the black mist as well. So this time, Yura and Takeru have to work together, and they both pilot the Shikigami. And the problem is, this is the teleporting bastard who puts up all these warp gates, so he's able to attack all around. He, in particular, seems like there's some intelligence on the Oni because it recognizes, like, oh, you're trying to protect Tsukimiya. I'm going to specifically aim for her over and over and over again. And it pushes Takeru to the point that he transforms part of the Shikigami through his power, and they're able to get the upper hand on this thing. And it looks like, oh my god, I like the fake out where you're thinking like, oh my god, did him or Yura get stabbed again? Well, him again, but did Yura get stabbed this time? But instead, like, it's like, yo, I know your tactics, you bastard. So Takeru like shot his fist up through the gate that was above them, and it like stabbed through the stomach of this thing. And this time learned his lesson, because last time he didn't destroy the core. That's how that thing was able to sneak up and kill him. I think that's also like how like Tsukimiya died in that moment too. I believe, I could be mistaken, but either way, this time it's like, nah, I grabbed your core and I destroyed it. So it seems like it all worked out. Tsukimiya is okay. And I was like, well, there's still some time left on this. Like, where are we going to go with this? Especially because I was like, once we got to the credits, I was like, no, there's still some time. So what's the post-credit scene going to be? It's like, somehow, some way, Takeru goes berserk. Something channels inside of him, and there's like multiple shadow like after images of him that pop up, and you're like, does this have to do with like some breaking of like the space-time continuum? Because something I was wondering too, I just thought about it after the episode. Like, Takeru's rewound time once. Who's to say time hasn't rewound here prior to Takeru showing up? Maybe he is an inciting thing that's kind of make it so that time rewound, or maybe like there has been like time loops have already existed here. Takeru's just the one that's kind of summoned to break it for whatever reason. I don't know. Or maybe, like I said, maybe it is just as it is, where it's like Takeru being here plays a role in the time looping, whether he's subconsciously doing that, something else is you, because once again, he's also the only one who remembers anything from the time loop. But it does add, once again, because of that earlier attack, Atsunaga was able to tell Simi, like, yo, he warned about this attack. I think we have to believe him that, Tsukimiya got killed and so did he, and that's when time rewound. So Simi didn't dismiss it as much anymore, because now it's like, well, a lot of what he said before we might be able to kind of take more seriously. Atsunaga definitely is, so. But now, like, Yura ends up exiting the Shikigami, trying to wake Takeru up from the machine, but he's going berserk just like the Shikigami, which is now like going a little Valimar, another Trails of Cold Steel reference. I know I'm sick and disgusting for constantly doing it, but it is what it is. He kind of has like, Valimar eventually kind of has a little bit of a demon mode after a pretty significant story beat thing happens and transforms him. So I'm wondering if that's the same thing here. Like I said, because of the multiple Takerus, I'm like, is that supposed to be something like I brought up earlier? Could he be part Oni? Could it have something to do with like time looping and breaking the space-time continuum? Could it be almost like those are like the alternate timeline versions of himself? Like maybe he's relived this a lot more than it could be one of those time loop things where like maybe he only remembers doing this once, but maybe Takeru's done this multiple times, and this is the only time he remembers after all this time. I was reading something recently that's kind of, and one of the characters doesn't remember anything. There's only one character that does, but one or two characters that does, but then there's like, with enough time looping over and over again, one of the protagonists eventually like has a certain type of magic. Him and another eventually have a type of magic that allows them to remember. So I'm wondering, like, could it be like, yo, those are the other versions of Takeru, like not remembering he's going through this multiple times, and this is just the one loop he does remember. That's a lot I'm throwing out there conceptually and stuff like that, but like maybe it's completely wrong. Like I said, just theorizing here on what that could be. But we end the episode with Simi summoning up his Shikigami. I think it's interesting, like when he summons it up, it's not even like, not unless he's about to hook himself up in a machine to pilot it, but it's summoned up because like I guess whatever its circumstances is, it's different from like the Shikigami that the others pilot. Like maybe his is very special. Like maybe he doesn't even have to be directly linked to it. Maybe he can like operate it without going inside of it, or maybe that's just a separate thing entirely where it's like, hey, I'm able to summon a guardian of sorts that's got the same constitution as Shikigami but operates differently. Who knows? We'll have to wait till next episode to get some answers, hopefully some answers to some of these pressing questions. But yeah, really, that's all I wanted to talk about. So the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day and goodbye.